Last time I was too late, now you're gonna tell me I'm too early? Beautiful people, how are you doing? Welcome to the channel. This is Studio Visitor, the podcast where we talk about gear, philosophy and history in European music studios. This time we're at the studio where I already have been one time. Next to me, Robert Eindler,
Hey,
Suburb Studios, Berlin.
Whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop. Back again. Amazing to see you again, man.
Yeah, nice to have you, man. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool you're back. And it's been a while, actually. A little more than 2 years? Almost 2 years by now, yeah.
Yeah, actually, it was the same kind of period I traveled to Berlin in 2022.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah, it was mid 22 or something like that.
Yeah,
crazy, man. Time is running. Now I got turned into a father.
Yeah, a lot has changed.
Yeah.
How's that working for you with your studio?
Yeah, I've got a little less time for music, but that's totally fine, man. I really appreciate the time with my family. Since I don't have much family left, it's just the best thing that could happen for us to have a little girl, and she loves making music. It's crazy. She's dancing all around, and we try stuff. Not too long ago I had a party going on here, and I had like this little mixing desk from SSL here, and she saw that and she was like, I couldn't even get her away from it. She was like playing around with the faders and whatever, and I was like,
the Big Six?
Nice. Yeah, the six actually.
Okay.
Six. But yeah, it was super fun watching her having fun, and sometimes when I'm working here with other people, she's joining us here at some point and just plays on the piano and just...
My son did the same thing. These cork electripes were very popular like 20 years ago. And when I took my son to a shop where I actually was working for, they hired me to do the graphic design. He always said, "Can I have a headphone?" And he was playing around.
Nice.
Awesome. It's really funny to see how children can entertain themselves with just a little instrument.
No shit. Like the xylophone I have here, man. I mean, she's playing that 10-15 minutes in a row, and she's not getting bored. It's crazy.
In the meantime, you divide your time better. Time management is becoming a huge thing now.
Yeah, it is actually, but it's fine. So we have like some days for my wife where she does sports and stuff like that, and I take care of my little one. And most of the time during the week, it's my time for making music and earning money and stuff like that. But besides that, I'm in a full-time job. But it's all good. I mean, since I have home office now, it's way better for me to don't have to travel around through Berlin the whole day, kind of, to get back to my place. And so now I have 3 days of home office, which is super awesome. And
for the people that really don't know you, you can see his story in the previous episode, but in a nutshell, you got started somehow, and then you decided to wake up and you said to your wife, "I'm going to build a studio."
Yes, exactly. Yeah, we built the studio, and now I'm here in almost, I think, a little more than 3 years now. By now, I think.
Yeah.
And it's been super awesome. Super awesome. We had so much awesome sessions here with artists, singers, rappers, female, male, and a hell lot of beat sessions, and we do these beats and barbecue sessions every once in a while, mostly during the summer times because of the barbecuing. And it's kind of like everyone that comes here, he gets like one job. He has to record a certain thing, like a spoon against the glass or whatever, and we record it. And the plan for the future is, and especially next year, is to make a sample pack from all this stuff for beat makers, because it's a lot of beat makers, and I'm part of the beat unit now. The beat unit is like a young, it's like a fine. What's that? A team? No, what's the fine in English? I don't know, man.
Collaboration.
Yeah, kind of thing. So it's like a little organization that takes care of young producers. Well, I'm not young, but I'm still part of it. Well, we're all not young anymore. And yeah, we do these sessions and we invite people. Last Beats and Barbecue, we had audio over here.
Yeah,
I talked about that earlier. And they showcase some of their speakers and their headphones. And for the next year we have some other companies planned to come by here as well and showcase their gear and whatever. And we want to make this a little more fancy. And yeah, man, it's just been super awesome. I had a lot of releases to the beginning of this year. We dropped an album, a hip hop album, a little more hard hip hop. And we charted on place 8 in the album charts, in the hip hop album charts in Germany, which was super awesome. And I was super impressed by how the artist itself managed himself. Getting there was crazy for an independent artist to go that high in the charts, which was.
But that really has changed since the time I was here. That really has changed. That artists needed to do much more themselves than in the past.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it's been like that for a while now, but. As I said earlier, that it's more important for the artist to be a product than it was back then when I started making music. I mean, you had to be a special personality to showcase your stuff and whatever, but now you have to do TikTok, Instagram, I don't know what's there, OnlyFans, whatever people like to participate at, and make everything themselves, which is they turn into more than an artist, but that's fine. I mean, people now are used to this whole digital stuff, you know. I mean, for me, I feel killed by everything. I mean, even run Instagram is a hard thing, you know. As in studio, you're sometimes not so interesting for other people. But if you're a nerd like us, we love studios. That's why
that's the reason why I started this channel.
Yeah, that's why we watch your videos.
Did you approach change towards people or in your production since you become a father?
I always do. I always approach people. There's so many artists out there, even younger artists that haven't done anything yet, and some point they just, through Beats and Barbecue, people come here, I haven't met them, and I get to know them, and I see all their stuff or listen to their stuff, which is a lot of times very good. But here and there, there's stuff that you can improve. And I think that my role there is to help them if they want to. Just make the best out of it and use all this nice stuff here to make it even better, acoustically wise. And it's just, I haven't changed since I got a father. So I became a father.
Could be happening because I remember I become a father. My perspective of the world changed a lot. And
yes, you're totally right. So now we all know that there's sometimes people that just are funny in some way. Let's call it this way, or call them that way. And I get rid of this kind of people. I just don't have time to waste. I've always been very focused, and I just don't want to mess around, and I just want to make music, and not really business. I don't do music to make hits or whatever. I just love making music that can tell a story or transport a good story and whatever, and a good feeling. That's way more important to me. And I think that's the only thing that changed, that I don't mess around a lot. And if people kind of stop me from what I want to do, then I just say, okay, I think we stop here and shall not work together. That's fine.
Kind of funny. But you said, I don't want to make hits, but as soon as you talked about the hip-hop album you produced that hit the 8th place,
well,
it was like, I'm proud of that.
Dude, I mean, come on, place 8, by that many releases you have every week, it's pretty good to have like a place 8 or a placement like that. And yes, I'm proud for sure. I mean, it was like an awesome workflow with this guy, and he's super organized. And the team behind that, we were like 3 or 4 people only that organized all this stuff. And he managed to sell enough records to make enough money to enter the charts like that.
Yeah.
You know, and
it's amazing to see that an independent artist with your help can achieve that.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, the sound. I think that since we started working together a couple of years ago, we developed a pretty certain sound for him. It's very rough, but I like it like that. Actually, it's not so over. Yeah, overworked, and it's not pop, it's hip hop still, you know.
Yeah.
Hip hop is always a little rough. I mean, it can be super, like, if you listen to Drake or whatever, it sounds awesome. I mean, we still sound pretty good, but
polished for me.
it's not too polished, exactly, yeah. But that's totally fine, I think, and
Yeah.
there's a market for that. That's a cool thing.
Talking about polishing stuff, in comparing to my last visit there, you have some changes in your setup.
Yes, a
There's
couple.
SPL EQ.
Yeah, I sold it, sadly.
Sadly, you regretted, disappointed.
Yeah, well, I got the Thermos EQ by Handcrafted Labs. Super awesome EQ. Like,
Yeah.
I think, if I remember correctly, it's like a Barry Porter kind of EQ.
Yeah, net EQ.
It's super awesome. I mean, the sound is nice, but the past EQ had a couple more frequency bands. Well, not frequency bands, but I had like six bands to work with, like 3 boosts, 3 cuts, and now I have only 4 on each channel. But yeah, I mean, it's fine like that.
Yeah, do you think you come over it, or?
I probably will never come over it, but I have to see to get an old one because the new ones don't have the transformers built in.
No.
Or the Übertrager, I don't know, is it a transformer? Yeah, anyway, but it's kind of hard for me to let go of this unit because it had such a super nice low end. But yeah, I work my way around there to get it differently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else has changed?
Well, I got a new desk. This was the biggest improvement and one of the most important things, actually. So the last time you came here, I had like an Unterlast desk and 2 side racks.
Yeah.
And the worst thing about the setup was the cabling.
Yeah, but cabling is always a problem.
The power cabling was pretty bad, and the audio cabling was bad as well. So now I have a Neutrik tiny telephone patch base and Mogabe cabling, which changed my sound, I think, about 10% plus. And I also worked on my power supplies and how the cabling there works and stuff like that. I read myself into it, talked to a lot of people to have like, yeah, the best signal path and no audio cables in the way of the power cables and stuff like that. And it was super important.
Instead of focus yourself on collecting gear, did you underestimate the part of cabling and?
So I always had Vovox cables for my monitoring path, but I never really took care of good cables in my old studio, in my old setup. So I had like each unit was hooked up to a normal TRS patch bay. So I bought 4 cables that went to the patch bay, and now I have multi-core cables.
Yeah,
and it's a little less of a mess. So I went from this big of cable mess from a cable tree to probably like that, and it's awesome. So the change there was pretty damn amazing and pretty awesome. And so also now I'm able to use my outboard gear inside of my summing amp, which I wasn't able to do before. So I only had my mix bus chain from the SSL Sigma, the 2 mix buses up there. But now I can also implement, I don't know if I like to have the Thermos EQ or the dangerous compressor inside of one channel. I can just hook it in there and have a big smile in the face.
Yeah. Improving the signal path by cabling. Do you recognize yourself in making different decisions while you're mixing?
Well, yeah, I mean, I never had like a hum problem in my signals or anything like that. So, but I think the more I turned my studio into a pro studio, the less stuff I started using. And I think we talked about that in the last video as well, I think, but it got even less. So I try, when I'm able to record everything at my place, I use my outboard already during the recording process, and I make the decision. I have an EQ on there, I have a de-esser on there, I have a compressor on there, sometimes 2 compressors, depending on what kind of chain I use or need to use or what the sound needs. But afterwards, yeah, there's just the typical stuff, maybe another de-esser, a reverb, a chorus, parallel effects, and that's I use way less than I used when I started.
No. You still need to buy stuff, or?
There's always a room for improvement, right? But, well, yeah. I mean, the wish list is always bigger than the bank account. But no, to be honest, I'm super satisfied at the moment. There's some stuff I want to get for drum recording, but this is something I don't need right now because I have my Apollo 8P, with 8 preamps. I have some outboard preamps as well, so I get like 12 channels, which is totally fine, and it's enough.
I was thinking about buying the new SSL preamps.
Yes, so that's what I thought about as well, because I'm a big SSL fan still, and yeah, I mean, it's always a flavor thing. I think for drums, API.
No, nothing beats API on drums.
Yeah, that's what I think. The transients just sound so crazy good. I mean,
really fast and
exactly
on point. Period.
Yes, exactly. I mean, Neve is a little slower, but it's thicker. But I think what I like about API is the punch and whatever it is.
They call it the tendency trick. The guy Colt Capperrune.
Colt Capperrune.
On YouTube, he described that. First thing you do, go in from the mix bus, go into the CAPI of API preamps, then you go into the mix bus compressor. That's his.
Yeah, right. He uses his preamps for the mix bus as well, right? He sends all his stuff. Yeah, I mean, that's a way to do it. I did that as well sometimes, to just send music into my preamps to have like a certain flavor, but by now the plugin industry turns so good, and they have it's just such a small difference, mostly low and high end, I think.
No.
But I started not using so much on my tubas when I work digitally, so when I work completely in the box. I have way less stuff on there, so I usually use only a limiter and a soft clipper. That's mostly it.
Yeah, me too.
On the tubas.
That's all you need. And the limiter in my case is only to prevent clipping.
Exactly, same here.
Yeah.
So, and my approach and my wish for myself for the next year is to master less loud. Stop the war. No, it's seriously, because I had some songs that got released this year and the last year, and Spotify and YouTube, they just destroyed the sound of the whole mix because it was just turned up so loud. And we went to -8 lufs, which is pretty decent already from the loudness side. And yeah, I just decided to go at least -10 or even less, like -12ish, something like that.
Yeah, does it change the way you mix, or?
No, not at all. It's not that. It's always harder to get louder, I think. But I think the music, the benefits is just you have more clarity and in the mix, and it makes more fun listening to music like that. And if it's -8, it's always. I always did it because most of the people wanted it. They said it's not loud enough, it's not competitive. I said, yeah, okay, but as a producer, you don't want to argue too much with the artist because you're the one that's the bad guy in the end. But you know, that's just what it is.
This is really the reason why Prince Paul quit working with De La Soul.
Oh, really?
Yeah, really, because they had too many arguments about how the production should be done. I mean, the hi-hat, the artist said the hi-hat should be higher, the snare should be lower, and he's like, it sounds fine. We always did it like this, but that's how they quit.
Yeah. Well, sometimes artists want to develop a new sound for them, even after working with them for a while, which is fine, but it's always a thing, 50% you're a producer and 50% you're a psychologist.
Yeah, sure. Sure. We talked about plugins. Did you buy any stuff?
Let me think. So I definitely got some of the new SSL plugins. Well, they're a little older by now.
Which one?
The drum strip.
I have to. I like it.
Yeah, it's awesome. The vocal strip and the drum strip. There's just two super cool tools, I think. And which I'm still not quite used to and not using that much, though, is the Safari pedals stuff.
This is really a kind of interesting development. I mean, people hate them or love them because the way they look. They sound more than okay.
Yeah.
They are useful, but working with them takes quite a bit of effort.
Well, yeah, I mean, you don't have a lot of knobs to work with, I think, but yeah, I just haven't found the use for them, to be honest. I'm still stuck with Waves, Universal Audio, and Plugin Alliance, and a couple of Slate plugins, but that's actually it. And yeah, I quit buying too much stuff because I think it's just a waste of money. And since I got a new computer not too long ago, I realized how much stuff I had running on my computer, which was never been used. And so I decided to just get rid of it and not use it anymore. So I use my standard plugins that I've been working with for the last years, and they work just awesome and fine.
Yeah. Do you think the time we live in, the availability of plugins creates a choice of stress, not to us, but in general to producers?
Yeah. I mean, I've met quite some people during the last years, and it's so crazy how much plugins they use. And I try to teach them use less, make better decisions during tracking. Since I do a lot of vocal recordings, I'm not too much into band stuff, but especially on the vocal stuff, they always record clean, maybe a good preamp and an EQ, sometimes a compressor. But most people don't have the budget, and some people, or most of the people I work with, they use an Apollo. So they have like the emulations of the Unison preamps and the hardware stuff that's emulated, which sounds awesome.
Yeah.
It's cool, but at some point I see them throwing on 10 to 12 plugins kind of, and I just said, dude, it's just not necessary.
No.
And
depends on how you push them.
yeah, true, but I tend to use like I really love the what's it called, the J9000 SSL channel strip by Plugin Alliance. That's just one of my favorite plugins.
I have the SSL, the original, the
4000.
No, channel strip 2. That's also 9,000.
Yeah, with you with one, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I really love that. I can see why you love Plugin Alliance.
Super solid stuff, man.
Yeah.
And one of the less companies that really get their shit together.
Really?
It's not that you purchase shit and purchase a plugin and then a couple months later you have to purchase a new, like other companies did.
Yeah, we can call them Waves as one of those companies. Yeah, sure. Sorry, people, but the reality is they're hustling their clients.
Yeah, there's other companies too, I think. But yeah, as we talked about earlier, I had some issues now with my contact stuff, contact libraries and stuff, and now I have to purchase a new contact and installing some of the software, man. Like, really, I'm not the super IT or computer guy. But the company I struggled most with while installing was Universal Audio, actually.
Really?
Dude, I sat here for, I think 4 hours or 5 hours it took me to install the software. I was just stupid, probably. That's fine.
Oh, finally,
Dude,
the face of the nail is over.
The truth is revealed. No, but it was just annoying. They had information, and when you go on the Universal Audio side, you have like a chat window, and you talk to a bot and try to talk to a bot. Dude, I mean, come on.
Yeah, but that's a general trend.
It's not cheaper good for the company, but it sucks for the customer, and I hate it, to be honest. You can type in your problem, it refers you to some information page, and then it asks you, are you happy with the result? And you said no. What can I help you with? And then you start all over again, and it's the same road every time. So yeah, I just wasn't able to install the plugins and the console and all the applications. You have to have your start your computer in safe mode and something like that, and it took me quite some long time to actually figure that out. And dude, I mean, it was no fun.
But now it works.
Well, yeah, it works now, luckily, but it took me way too long, and I turned gray since then.
But that's more of having a kid.
Probably.
The biggest development you experienced in the last 2 years? For yourself?
Development for myself. Workflow. definitely workflow. And yeah, I think the patch bay or the whole table patch bay thing got me into working even way faster, because what I wanted to have was a studio that you can run into and start working right away. And it was like kind of like that before, but since the new patch base, I can hook up everything super quick and don't have to overthink stuff. And now I just plug it in and let's go. And the computer was also pretty important because of the speed it has now with an M2 chip. Is little different than my 2013 trash can.
Well, that's an upgrade.
Dude, it's like 10 years of evolution that you feel right away. And you press on the computer and it's on right away.
The previous one had an Intel chip.
No, I don't know actually.
You don't know.
I don't even know.
But the thing is, the previous version and the silicon versions, I saw present day production, they're called on YouTube. And as soon as the Mac Mini came out, they did a stress test with Space Designer plugin and EQ compression. They ran about 1,000 plugins in a session before it got killed.
Crazy. So we had the first test I did was with Isotope Ozone 11. Yeah. And we had like one track, copied it with a we did like a preset where the AI checked what the song needed, and I copied it 40 times, and I was on 45% of my CPU usage. It's crazy.
Insane.
It's crazy, isn't it? I mean, it's awesome, but I have not been into any stress at all. I have 64 gigabyte of RAM and a terabyte SSD, and every project that I'm not working on is going right onto my backup system. Yeah, makes sense. So,
that really makes sense, because we had in the previous computers we had terabytes full of storage, but the thing is, the more storage you have, the more rubbish you have.
True that. True.
And now we are forced to back up more.
Yeah, it's okay, I think. I mean, I only have the stuff on the computer. I mean, sometimes it's annoying when you have to pull over the sessions and then put it back on the hard drive. But you know, I mean, come on, it's just a matter of minutes now. Yeah. When I think back in a couple of years ago, or a little more than a couple of years ago, it took quite some time to move 10 gigabytes. Yeah. And by now it's like
it's getting faster and faster.
Yeah, it's awesome now.
Awesome. Your plans for the future?
Plans for the future? That's a very tough question. Yeah, I'm still thinking of getting a little desk.
Console?
Yeah, but not for mixing or summing. It's more for the tracking drums, probably. But
so many options for that.
Dude, there's so many options.
You need only 8 channels?
Well, yeah, that's exactly the point.
Here we go again.
I mean, yeah, here we go again. So the thing is, I think 8 channels would be fine, since I have a couple other outboard preamps, so it would still give me enough channels, like 14 channels at the same time. Plus, if I had I had 8 more channels on the 8P from the UAD. Yeah, but it's always a money thing, and I'm still thinking if it's worth the investment or not. But I would probably build myself a small desk by myself with 500 series modules and get maybe 2 API channels with 4 like the...
If you want to be inspired, I got a video about Soundvile Media Studios in Switzerland. I'll link that up in the description. And Mr. René Singh, he built his own dream desk consisting out of 135 500 modules.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, well, why not? The man has the possibility, and I've been there, and it's amazing to work with. We did a quick mix behind the scenes, and I was like, yeah, I understand why you built it like this.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, I think that hardware is still something I don't want to miss, especially when I do mastering. I tend to do more and more masterings with outboard gear than digitally, because it just looks and sounds better.
Yeah,
by look, I mean the sausage is not the real sausage, and in digital it's just cut off all the way, and you have like this big sausage, but
no transients.
No transients, but if you use like converter clipping as I do and all this stuff, it looks a little better.
we need to stop compare plugins with hardware. It's good that it's inspired, but both are great. Both serve their own
Absolutely.
purpose, and both are fine. Use whatever you want.
Yeah, I mean, as long as the music is good, right? I
Yeah.
mean, you can have the most expensive compressor or EQ or mics. When the song's shit, it's shit. That's just
When the
what it
input
is.
is shit, it still sounds like shit.
Yes, I mean, I have, I have a lot of people that are really good mixers, but when they start mastering their stuff, they ruin everything, sadly. Which is okay though. That's why I do mastering and I'm more into it. And when they send me the stems for mastering their songs, sometimes they come by and bring them. We just take advantage of some of my chains here, and the quality difference is just. It's just big, huge.
Yeah.
It's huge. And
I
I think I could also get pretty close to the analog sound, but yeah, you can't really compare the analog and the digital. It's kind of hard for me. Okay, I'm still kind of. I only have what I have. I don't have too much of the mastering gear, so I'm not a completely. I have enough. Yes, exactly. I have the good stuff that I actually really need. I have the Max EQ, the Fusion with the MS Matrix and the Thermos EQ and the Dangerous compressor, and that's just awesome. With the converter from Burl, which are my super favorite. I mean, there's always room to improve, but for me personally, there's no need for any more mastering or mastering console stuff.
No.
I don't see any.
You can always buy an Trophy console by Hum Audio.
Yeah, this thing is just.
Yes, Christoph. I'm about to meet him next year.
Oh, nice.
And he has an 8-channel, but they also released the channel strips now.
Yeah, I saw that earlier. Yeah, the console is awesome. I mean, they also have the center section for summing, which is interesting for mastering applications. Yeah, but it's just kind of out of my price range, to be honest. It's pretty expensive.
Yeah.
But the look of it, mwah.
And the sound of it, oh.
Yeah, I just checked some of the demos and I was like, awesome. Not too long ago, I worked on the Rupert Neve 5088 console, actually. KMR Audio had one here in their showroom. Big ups to KMR. Yeah, it was interesting. We ended up not using the mix, but that was just because of the room that I was not used to working in and stuff like that.
Stuff were in balance?
Yeah, we had some issues by we wanted to export the stems for the song so we could kind of take the advantage of the summing, but there were too many issues and too many problems, and we just decided to run everything through my mastering chain, and it sounded pretty damn good then. Even though the console is awesome, and I bet if I would have it here and work here on it, I would have totally different outcome. But I've never worked. Well, I did work on a console before, but it was an SSL, and to be honest, man, I would never want VU meters.
No.
On a console, man. Like, you always hear this click, 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 when they move.
Yeah.
It got me crazy. I was like, dude, this is so annoying. And you have like 16 channels. So it means 16 VU meters there. Then you had your 8 buses. That means you had more VU meters there. And then you had the master VU meter. And I think you had even more.
30.
Kind of like, 20 or kind of, I don't know, 25, 30, whatever. It's just, and everything was like, all pulled to the right because we went in pretty damn hot, so driving the console, right? But but it was just silly, and I didn't like the clicking. But this is just.
It's just you.
Yeah,
You
it's
also
probably
told
just
me,
me.
behind the scenes, you told me the story about the headphone by HEDD.
Yeah.
You took it off and it sound.
Yeah, I mean, I love the sound of this headphone, and I talked to the guys at HEDD Audio too, and I said, man, the sound is awesome, but I'm a guy that likes to touch his headphones while he's listening, closing eyes, listening, because you're more into the sound, right? But you had like this funny noise happening all the time, and you touch the headphones, and it sounded like you crunching a plastic bag and whatever, and it turned me crazy. And I said, guys, I'm really sorry. These are beautiful. They sound beautiful, but I need to touch him. And if I can't touch him, I'm not paying that amount of money.
Interesting developments in your studio. We're going to meet again next year or the year after.
Next time I probably have a console then.
Well, we'll see what's happening. There's anything left to say for you to the viewers?
Keep making music, guys. Don't overthink shit, and don't let your ego come in the way. Super important.
Super important. Be humble.
Be humble.
That's your conclusion. As I for my. This was me and Robert again, and we're gonna meet again. Until we meet again, and we'll see you up in the next episode. If you like the videos, if you like the podcast, don't forget to subscribe and give it a like. I'll see you up in the next one. Until we meet again. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Great, man. Great.
Nice.
I need to shoot some B-roll.
Yes, do that.